Welcome, everybody, to the latest edition of Start, Sit, Different Day. I am Josh. I am filling in for Joe this week because, work obligations, hockey team, all that good stuff. But we have Faith here to host, and this is the JWB Fantasy Football Mashup. We've teamed up. Well, I don't even want to say teamed up. I basically just invited Wyatt and Mike, who you know as Daddy's Home, and I'm calling it a JWB and Club Fantasy Mashup. So there's that. Bring all of your Week 11 start sit questions. We are here to help. We're live for the next 60 minutes. Let's get to it.
Good morning and happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome to Start, Sit, Different Day. As Joe likes to say, it's a Start, Sit show on a different day because that's just what we do. We don't like to be normal around here. So, as Josh said, Joe is dealing with work, yay, hockey, but we get these two lovely bearded fellas to join us today. Mike, how are you today?
I'm good. Apparently, I'm a hot mess, though. I have, as you know, deleted Chrome by accident, like right before we're going to go live. So yeah, I think maybe still high from last night, but loving life. So I appreciate the invite.
Well, I mean, can only go
it's
up
been
from
a
here,
while,
right?
Mike. We had to rectify this.
Yeah, it's been way too long. So I appreciate being able to come back on, and especially getting to join one of my favorite people as a guest. So that's
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, that's exactly.
Wait, you're talking about Wyatt. All right.
How's it going?
Anyway, never mind. Fun fact: Mike and I have only been on one live stream together, and that was the Potathon this year. The Scott Fishbowl.
Good place to be.
Yeah, I have to be on the Potathon. I mean, everyone has to get on the Potathon, right? And appreciate.
Are you just saying that because I'm prettier than those three, or because you just woke up?
I like I told you, I'm still probably high from last night, so you can take anything I say with a grain of salt at this point.
I was
I'm
talking
not
about
even
Joe's
sure.
comment.
Which one? Oh, son of a bitch! Screw you, Joe. Screw you. I can't wait till you ask a question. I cannot. You know what, buddy? Start freaking Jake Browning, jerk.
Oh, we're already off the rails. I love this.
This is why we don't have a show sheet and we embrace the chaos. Because
Wyatt, welcome to Club Fantasy, buddy. This is what we do.
So,
Thanks for
Josh,
having me. Love it already.
Seems like Mike is taking Joe's spot in two ways: offending,
Right?
insulting commenters, and I'm sure at some point he's going to have an anti-Patriots take because he's a Patriots fan and face it.
Yep.
We suck. There's nothing good to say.
We do
Love it.
We got a bye week, so we can't screw anything up this week. Speaking of screwing things up, people are claiming that the Bengals purposely left out good old Joey B's injury. Dave Portnoy wants everybody's bets refunded. I wouldn't, in good faith, put down $100,000 of my hard-earned money if I'd have known he was injured. Well, don't bet money you can't lose.
Fact.
There you go.
Yes, 100%.
Speaking of injuries, Josh, who is injured but hasn't played yet and will not this week because, well, they're injured?
Everyone. This is ridiculous. I mean, quarterbacks, nobody technically of note for the Sunday, Monday games, but like everybody's on IR right now, including the aforementioned Joe Burrow. Running backs out this week. Dameon Pierce has already been ruled out. Antonio Gibson is doubtful, and we know how doubtful tags go. They never play. Ryan notes that Kieran Williams should be activated today. I thought that
Kieran or Kyron?
Kieran, Kyron, whatever. I was told, or I've been hearing, that week 12 is more likely for Kieran Williams, but hey, if you want to plan for it. But Devon Achane, Deonta Foreman, Alexander Madison, all questionable. Wide receiver is the only one ruled out so far is Texans wide receiver Noah Brown. So once again, another Tank Dell week. Woohoo! Keenan Allen, Garrett Wilson, both questionable. Justin Jefferson also ruled questionable. He's looking more likely for week 12 from what I'm hearing. Tyler Lockett, Michael Wilson, Zay Jones, all questionable as well. Tight ends ruled out Gerald Everett, Hayden Hurst. For some reason, Dallas Goedert is questionable. I don't know how that man's going to play.
Can we get him on IR already?
I was about to say, yeah, he
rosters.
needs to be just put on IR because that's ridiculous. And that's about it for the injuries.
I just have to display this. George was like, I thought Ryan shaved his head and then realized it was Wyatt. Ryan, I know that you are not feeling the greatest, but if by chance you're watching this, food for thought, curious to see. I mean, could be a thing. So our first
I already got questions. I love this.
Is from George. George says he made the choice to start Javonte Williams over Aaron Jones for his RB2 spot. He's already playing Diggs and Ayuk at receiver. Should he flex Aaron Jones or tank Dell? He's 5-5 and an 8 seed in a must-win game, and it's half PPR. Mike.
We're going tank Dell here. Strangely enough, the Vikings are really good against the run. I think in past years, if you look back, that's the place they've struggled. But this year, they're fourth in points allowed to opposing running backs. Aaron Jones hasn't looked right since the injury. He's not getting the amount of snap share that he gotten previously. They're working in Dylan more. And realistically, I mean, as Josh mentioned, with Noah Brown out, this is a tank Dell week, and he gets an absolute joke of an Arizona defense. I'm playing basically any Texan I have on my roster as much as I can. I know we have a ton in the question, so just get used to me saying Texans this week. But I have tanked Dell quite a bit higher than Aaron Jones this week because of the matchup, because of the health, and because of the usage of both.
Wyatt.
Yeah, I'm there too. Javonte and Aaron Jones, they're pretty safe plays just because of the volume that they're going to get, but neither of them have been particularly efficient in any given way, really, especially Aaron Jones since coming back from that injury. But, Tank Dell against that terrible Cardinals defense in what's got one of the highest over-unders point for the slate, the entire slate. That should be a high-scoring game. You just want pieces in that game. He's easily the highest ceiling play out of these three to me.
Josh.
Yeah, half PPR, I typically side with running backs, but as somebody that invested way too heavily in Aaron Jones this year, he's on my shit list. So, I mean, it's tank Dell forever and always at this point. So,
all right. Chris, in a full PPR at tight end, are you starting McBride or LaPorta? And would you also consider using whoever he doesn't start at tight end for a flex over Raheem Mostert or Rachaad White? Mike.
So luckily for you, you have two of the best tight end matchups you can get. Arizona and the Lions both have joke matchups. When you talk about the Texans 28th against tight ends, the Bears 29th. So you really hit the jackpot on lineup choices this week. To get this out of the way, we are not sitting Rachaad White in a full PPR. What he does is catch passes, and a lot of them. So what it comes down to, Chris, realistically, is how much do you think Achane is going to play coming off of an injury? Not being a doctor, that's a tough one for me. But if I was making the choice, I would be going with LaPorta and Mostert at this point, but I would not begrudge you going McBride if you think Achane is going to get a high snap share. I personally don't. I think they're going to ease the rookie back in. So I would go Mostert and LaPorta here, but McBride is definitely an option. They're very close in the rankings. But like I said, you can't go wrong at tight end this week given the matchups you have.
Wyatt.
Yeah, this is a very good problem to have. Sam LaPorta and Trey McBride are like neck and neck for me this week, but in full PPR, I would side with McBride just because the sheer amount of targets that he's been getting in that offense, and it just kept going with Kyler. It's like he's at like a 35% target share since Zach Ertz, went down. It's just pretty absurd. Like the volume, I'm just going to follow that in full PPR, and like Mike said, I don't really want to play either of them over the running backs here for flex. Like, even though they're both top tight ends, like even top tight ends barely measure up to good, skill position players. And like Rachaad White, personally, he projects higher than Raheem Mostert this week. It doesn't show right now, but I put in my little headline as Rachaad White fan club. I think that, especially in full PPR with all the passes he should be getting in that offense. I mean, the 49ers have a great pass rush. They're going to have to be checking down, getting the hot reads, the quick passes out against that defense. Rachaad White should be involved a lot.
Josh.
I was like, what are we doing here? It's Trey McBride over Sam LaPorta. It is close. I would be fine if you really wanted to start LaPorta in your flex, but I think with your running back options, ride the hot hand in McBride. He's the number 1-2 target in that offense, whereas LaPorta, you could make the case, is probably the third behind Gibbs and Amon-Ra. I'm Mostert over White this week. I get the PPR love with Rashad White. And San Francisco isn't the best at slowing down pass catching running backs. But Mostert at home, Miami's 4-0. They put up almost 40 points a game at home. Mostert's going to go hog wild on the Raiders.
All right. Jonathan says pick 2 between Nico Collins, I'm assuming Cortland Sutton, and Devin, not Devil. Devin Singletary in a full PPR. So who are you not going with, Mike?
I'm not going with Nico in this one. You can't sit Cortland Sutton. He is on a heater like you read about. Touchdowns in 4 consecutive games, 11 targets last week, and gets a really bad Viking secondary. Like I said, they stopped the run. They do not stop the pass. And Singletary with Pierce already ruled out. He was ruled out yesterday. We saw what Singletary can do when he's the top dog. So we're going to go Singletary and Sutton with this one, sitting Nico in what we think will be a Tank Dell game. Nico still has been so up and down. I can't trust him even without Noah Brown in the offense. I think, to Josh's point, when you talk about options in the passing game, I think he's fallen behind both Tank Dell and Dalton Schultz in this offense. So I'm going to sit him. I'm going to ride the hot hand with Sutton and go with Singletary in this one.
Wyatt.
I'm going to be a little bit different again from my JWB compatriot here, and I want to
be wrong. It's okay to be wrong.
I want to sit Cortland Sutton. I know he's on the hot streak with those touchdowns. It's just mostly because I know that Denver is a team that they're at the point where they want to be able to just run the football as much as they can, and the passing game, is definitely secondary to that. Whereas the Texans now behind CJ Stroud are pass first team, a lot of pass volume in that high scoring game, like we mentioned before with Tank Dell. Like, I just want the pieces in that game, so I want to have Nico Collins in my lineup,
Josh.
and then Singletary for all the things that.
Just kidding.
Mike said there against that Cardinals' terrible defense.
Josh.
I personally want to apologize to Jonathan because he's going to get 3 different answers because I'm going Nico. So I personally don't think Singletary is all that good. I think the 2 weeks ago when he started for Dameon Pierce, he had 20 yards. Like the matchup was better last week. It's okay this week. Arizona isn't great against running back, but they're even worse against wide receivers. And that's why I would much prefer just anybody in the passing game. And Sutton with the touchdowns, Minnesota's okay. They've been better against wide receivers, but still not great. And they got to throw. So give me Nico and Sutton.
All right. Dice Dealer says in a PPR, start 2. Swift, Hall, Achane, or Singletary, Mike.
All right, so this is definitely that whole like Sesame Street. One of these things is not like the other. Put Breece Hall in your lineup. So we're gonna put Hall in, and then we really have a dice roll. I'm staying away from Swift. He hasn't eclipsed 100 yards in like 5 weeks. They're not using him at the goal line and not using him a lot in the passing game. So I'm gonna go between Achane and Singletary. And again, I'm gonna caveat this with I'm not a doctor. I have no idea how healthy he is, but I'm gonna go Devon Achane. I don't know how you get away from him. Josh hit on how they are at home. And I actually think that when they bring him back, you bring back a rookie because they're ready to go. The Raiders aren't stopping anything. And this kid is just an electric factory and fun to cheer for anyway. And that's why we play. It's supposed to be fun. So give me Hall and Achane on this one. Wouldn't begrudge you Singletary if you were worried about the injuries. But Swift is someone that I'm off of right now because of usage.
Wyatt.
Yeah, Breece Hall is the easy lock that one in. And then from there, Swift and Singletary, those are like the safer plays, and I would say that Swift is a little bit safer than Singletary just because of the offense being high-scoring offense the way it is. I know Houston's been high scoring as well now. But the Philly offense, like I have confidence no matter what happens, they're always going to be putting points up on the board. But as Mike said, like it's not looked quite as good for him recently, so it's hard to have too much faith in that. But if you want to get those like locked in 12 points or so, you can play Swift or Singletary. But if you want the chance at 20, you have to play Achane. And I'm usually about getting that ceiling play, in which case I think you want to play Achane.
Josh.
Maximum upside, Hall and Achane. And that's coming from a Philly fan.
Good morning, Angie. Angie wants to know, are you rolling with Kyler or Josh Dobbs this week? Mike.
Oh man, I cannot believe that in the year of our Lord 2023 we're asking this question, and I'm actually a little perplexed, Angie. Like this should have been a softball, but it's not, and that's wild. And I'm gonna go Dobbs. I can't believe I'm saying this, but my goodness, this man is wild with what he's doing right now. Playing against the Broncos, who can't really stop much of anything except when Sarkhan's involved. He doesn't even need Jefferson, which is scary to me, but he's doing it with his legs, and we know Denver can't stop anything on the ground. He's doing it with his arm. The only thing I would caveat, Angie, is just watch the injury report. If both Jefferson and Hawkinson don't go, Hawkinson, I believe, back injury. If the two of them are out, you have to go Kyler. But if either or both are playing, I'm wheels up on Dobbs, and I can't believe I'm saying that as a big Kyler fan, but I'm buying into the hype, and I'm loving this guy. So give me the astronaut on this one.
Okay, but also, did you see the video where he sent a signed like child-sized jersey to a kid with alopecia?
Yep. How do you not love him?
Right?
How do you not love him? There's that. There's the video of him trying to find his own jersey in the team store. I mean, there's so much to love about this guy. I don't care if it's Narrative Street. I love Josh Dobbs. I'm playing him. I don't care. Wyatt, don't even try to hit me with data. I don't care.
So I don't know if any of you follow the Vikings on Instagram, but like every Friday they do this like scavenger hunt challenge thing in one of like the small locker room looking things. A friend of the show and a friend of mine, Lindsay, is a reporter for the Vikings, and so she always shares it. And it's really funny to watch these guys try to like problem solve and like figure these clues out. And some are just like, oh, it's this, it's whatever. And then some of them like it was the Halloween one, and you had the quarterbacks, you had the O-line, you had the defense, like none of them could figure it out. And then the kickers walk in, and within like 30 seconds, they've got it all figured out. And it was like, kickers are people too.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
They just need backup plans because they're not all that athletic. So they have to stay smart.
All right, Wyatt.
Yeah, so we're all Joshua Dobbs fans, right? Like everybody in fantasy football, everybody who watches the NFL, you got to be a Joshua Dobbs fan at this point. And I do actually have him.
She didn't even need the rest of you. She just needed Mike.
Love it, Angie. Love
your
it.
Your opinions are moot, guys.
I do actually have Joshua
it's like
Dobbs
a cow's
projected
opinion.
Slightly higher than Kyler Murray, but I have Kyler Murray ranked just ahead of Joshua Dobbs because of that game that we keep talking about being this high scoring game. And it could be like a 33-30 game, and you just like want those pieces in it. I will not blame anybody for starting Joshua Dobbs here, though.
Yeah, I'm on the Kyler side too. I do like Dobbs a lot. It's hard not to like him. He's second among quarterbacks in rushing yards. But since week 6, Broncos are actually 10th stingiest against quarterbacks. Like they've actually played really well. And they only allow 21 rushing yards a game to quarterbacks. So I think that kind of caps Dobbs' ceiling a little bit. Kyler's still kind of working his way back, so you're going to have some bumps in the road, but give me Kyler here.
Okay, I just want to say, this is why I said, Angie, you don't even need the other two's opinion. Like Mike sold you on Dobbs, like we were good, should have stopped there because these two over here just like party poopers.
Sorry, we think logically.
But I just want to be just want to throw a little challenge out here because that's what we're here for. Shutting down Jordan Love and Patrick Mahomes with the flu is not that impressive to me. Just throwing that out there. Like Jordan Love always is a flu game, like he just is bad. And Patrick Mahomes was sick as a dog and put up 5 touchdowns the next game just to prove that he was sick. And then they Josh Allen is dealing with the shoulder injury, but did have a rushing touchdown. So they haven't exactly played the most stout offenses that we could imagine during that little run. So I'm not buying into the resurgence of the Denver defense as much as I want.
Yeah, you're right, because Josh Dobbs over Mahomes and Allen, right? That's what we're going with here.
Overflew Mahomes. Yeah,
I want to say like that QB rushing yards given up stat. That's probably more of a measure of which teams that or which QBs that team has played than
of course.
Just like what they give up. So like, I don't know if I want to say like that stops Joshua Dobbs from running. With that all said, I'm still
it's not going to stop him.
Yeah.
So Angie says that she played Kyler last week and he scored way less than Dobbs. Angie, I just want to say for the record,
that's all you need, Angie.
I don't do analysis, but I also know that 1 week does not a second week make.
No, but Josh Dobbs is inevitable. Just we can move on.
I thought that was
I love it. But Joe with this
MVP.
First good comment of the day.
Which is the first person you insulted, Mike.
I know. We won me right back. Look at that. Pulled me right back in. We just became best friends, Joe. I love this. I was going to totally sabotage your question, which is up next, but now I'll give you a real answer.
Toronto Dave, speaking of sandwich conversation, wants to know in a PPR, pick one. Warren, Jakobi Meyers, or David Njoku? Mike.
This one's Warren for me by a good amount. Jakobi's just not getting targets since Antonio Pierce took over as coach, since AOC took over as quarterback. I think he has 4 targets in 2 games. His biggest splash play was an end around. I don't think we can really rely on that. And with DTR under center, I'm not going to be going near any of the Cleveland pass catchers. He is more of a danger with his legs than his arm. And poor Wyatt has to be a Browns fan and watch this atrocity this week. It's just not going to be pretty. So this one is Warren by a good amount. I know what you're thinking. The Browns defense is great. They do scare me a little bit, but Jaylen Warren is, I think, first or second in explosive runs since, week 4 or 5. Wyatt's the stat guy. I'm just making things up as I go. But I know he's up there, and he's just been outstanding. So I don't think these are the greatest matchups for you, Dave, but I think it's Jaylen Warren by a good amount because the usage of the other 2 makes me nervous.
All right, Wyatt.
Yeah, it's everything that Mike just said. Jaylen Warren is definitely the play, especially, with this is one of the running theme here again with like Rashad White has said this. I'm going to say it again, Jaylen Warren. When you're facing a tough defense like the Browns who have a really good pass rush, they're going to rely more on some of those easy checkdowns and quick targets like they do to Warren. Last time they played, Warren had 6 targets. He had a good game in that game. Caught 4 of them. He had 66 yards on those catches. Like Warren is safe because of how the Pittsburgh runs their offense. Like basically running through their running backs. And because he catches as many passes as he does, he has a decent ceiling because of it, even against the Browns.
Joshua.
Yeah, usually when I'm tasked with picking between a bunch of tough matchups, I'm going to take the safest option, and that's Jaylen Warren here.
Joe just wants to state for the record that he got Joe to fall in love with him the same way. So maybe it says something about us Patriots fans. We just need a little love to feel better about ourselves.
That's it.
Can't get much else. All right. Jonathan says, also, I know you guys picked Tank Dell over Aaron Jones earlier, but are you taking Tank Dell over Walker? Mike.
This one is an interesting one. So Zach Charbonnet has been chewing up Ken Walker's usage, but man, he has that one big play a week that makes him startable. Let me just check the matchups here real quick and see if there's anything that makes me nervous. The Rams aren't bad against running backs. They're actually pretty solid, if I recall correctly. They are, 12th to opposing running backs. I'm going to go Tank Dell. Assuming, Jonathan, this is a full PPR. That's how close these two are for me. If it's a half PPR, I would lean Ken Walker, but full PPR, I'm going to go Tank Dell just because I don't trust Walker to keep relying on those splash plays, and he's not getting enough volume to be doing what he did last year when he was getting 28, 30 touches. I mean, it's just gone down considerably. So give me Tank Dell slightly over Walker and full PPR. If it's half PPR or standard, if this is 1994, give me Ken Walker.
Standard if this is 1994. I can't.
That's how I feel with my work computer.
That's fair.
Wyatt.
Yeah, picking two between these, it's Tank Dell and Kenneth Walker for me. I just want to note with Kenneth Walker that, I mean, I think we just kind of know the script now with Zach Charbonnet. It depends on what kind of game they're going to be in. Are they going to be having to play from behind much of the game and in hurry up? Then we're going to see more Zach Charbonnet. If we don't think that's going to happen, then Kenneth Walker's completely fine. Like, he had those 2 down games, and then they played Washington, a game that was close the entire way, and he got 21 opportunities. And, like, yes, you could say that his day was made on the 64-yard reception for a touchdown, but, like, that's who Kenneth Walker is, and that's why you like him and why you play him, because he can make plays like that happen against anybody.
Josh.
Yeah, it's Walker and Tank Dell. You can't get me to trust Aaron Jones right now because, quite frankly, I don't trust anybody on that Green Bay Packers offense.
I legit didn't know.
And Romeo Dobbs, because he's always good for a cheap touchdown.
He is. I wasted a lot of time not knowing as a pick two. This could have been so much easier.
Read the question, Mike.
I told you I was
first
still
words in that.
I wasn't reading. I was on a different page looking at matchup.
He did give a disclaimer this morning that he might still be
That's true.
imbibed from last night. So
From last night, yeah.
I like how I try to find a way around about it. Mike's just like hand motions, and Josh is just like, hi.
Yeah.
All right, well, way to
Legal
ruin that. All right, Joe, speaking of Tank Dell, yet again. Tank Dell or DJ Moore? And yes, Mike, this is a pick one.
Pick one. Well, there's only two. That's to be super easy.
Pick zero.
Yes. Answer is yes. I'm going Tank Dell. If there's one thing we learned about Justin Fields is that after an extended absence, he can have some accuracy concerns and basically ruin an entire passing offense. So having not seen him for a while, having that guaranteed good matchup with a extremely accurate quarterback in CJ Stroud, I am going to let DJ Moore potentially go off on my bench to avoid a complete dud, which Fields can put up with DJ Moore if he's having accuracy concerns. So for this one, Joe, I'm looking back at the beginning of the year. It took him a little while to warm up the engine. We know what he can do with his legs, but his arm can be suspect. So I'm staying away from Chicago pass catchers this week, and I would go Tank Dell in a smash back with the Cardinals that we've talked about for way too much time during the show.
Well, look, Tank Dell's on the graphic, so we have to talk about Tank Dell.
That's fair. That's fair.
SEO matters, Mike.
Well, we've talked about Tank Dell a lot. I think we have filled our SEO quota. I think we're good there. Sorry, Wyatt, I cut you off.
That's all good. Yeah, I mean, this is actually close for me just because the splits for DJ Moore with Justin Fields are really good, like 20 points per game good. Now that's buoyed by that gigantic 3-touchdown game that he had, and it's like in a small sample size, obviously, but like he was playing very well with Justin Fields, but with Justin Fields returning from an injury that could affect his throwing because it was, on the hand that he throws with, I am a little bit worried about that first week. Like, I want to see the connection back before I want to fully trust DJ Moore. Like, he's still a top 24 wide receiver for me. But like, Tank Dell is like borderline top 12 for me this week. So it is Tank Dell.
Joe wants to add that he already started Chase and has AJ Brown going as well.
Who got that last minute touchdown for Chase? I appreciate the Bengals for making that happen for everybody out in fantasy, getting them that touchdown before the game.
Needed it.
Zach Taylor had Jamar Chase in his fantasy lineup too.
Yeah, he's like, well, let's not piss off Jamar Chase. Get him that touchdown.
Yeah, I'm only starting DJ Moore if I have to. Give me Tank Dell.
All right. Andrew wants to know, for a flex in a half PPR, are you starting Tank Dell?
I think we know the answer.
Yeah,
Nico Collins, Rice.
It's Tank Dell. Unanimous. Andrew probably asked this question prior. Yeah, that was 23 minutes ago. So she's probably gotten her answer 17 times already, but it's Tank Dell.
Whatever the over-under are for Tank Dell questions before the show, we've hit the over.
Or how many times Tank Dell is mentioned in this episode?
Right?
To quote Katie here, and the limit does not exist. All right, Andrea again needs 2 in a PPR. Mostert, Isiah Pacheco, Javonte Williams, James Conner, or Ty Chandler. Mike, it's a pick 2.
Yep, I got that now. Thank you. Now we get balloons for making sure that the host has pointed out my.
Oh wait, we learned this one last week.
Oh, wonderful! I'm not going to do any of those, but. So for this one, I'm going to be pretty solidly in the Javonte Williams and James Conner camp. I like Ty Chandler's matchup, but I'm not ready to trust him. He needed like 17 injuries to get his shot, so that makes me nervous. Pacheco's going against the Eagles front 7, which are scary, and we talked about Achane coming back. Mostert's usage is a little bit in question, so I'm going to go with 2 guys that I know are going to get volume based on their usage, and I'm going to go with Javonte Williams and James Conner. You have a really good floor there with ceiling on both of them. So pretty easy for me on those 2.
Wyatt.
I agree with Javonte, but I want to play Mostert over Conner just for ceiling purposes, especially because I think Javonte is like extremely safe as a high-end RB2 because of the volume he gets, but like I don't think the ceiling is particularly high. I mean, that's a high ceiling, I guess you could say in general, but like I don't think he's going to be like top 5 any week because I just like the efficiency is not quite there for me with that offense. But like we know that Mostert can do that, and I kind of want to like do the combination of a really safe floor in Javonte and this really high ceiling in Mostert.
Josh.
Mostert and Williams. I'm with Wyatt on that one. I want the upside with Mostert. I love the consistency with Williams. Conner being back last week, the volume was there. Pass catching was not. Kind of want to see him, work his way into that. And Houston actually has been pretty solid against running backs since week 6. 55 yards, 2.8 yards per carry. So they're starting to get better and figure out that defense. So give me Williams and Mostert here.
Okay. Are you starting Brock Purdy or Geno Smith?
Purdy. Non-concussed Purdy with Debo is inevitable. It's a cakewalk matchup against the Bucs. This is why you have Purdy on your roster to play in games like this.
Wyatt.
Yeah, it pains me to say this. Geno's not it this year. I was really invested in Geno this year. Unfortunate, but like that offense just isn't working at the same efficiency that it was last year. Purdy, yeah, when he's not concussed, is top 12 QB basically week in and week out.
Josh.
No, Purdy is the top 12 QB week in and week out when he has literally every single weapon. That's because he can't play without his weapons. We've seen that. But yes, Brock Purdy is the answer here.
All right. Are you playing Jake Ferguson or Dalton Schultz in a PPR? Mike.
Schultz. Love the usage. It's huge PPR. Schultz is now cemented himself in that top 7 tight end every week. He's a smash start for me.
I saw Wyatt shaking his head earlier. So does that mean you agree, Wyatt?
Yeah, I mean, it's close just because Ferguson gets used in the red zone so much for the Cowboys that he has a good chance scoring every single week. But in PPR, Schultz has such a high floor in that offense and still has a high ceiling that it's definitely Schultz for me.
Josh.
This is pretty close, but I'm going to take Schultz. I really don't love the matchup at all. But yeah, me Schultz here.
All right. I think I know how this question's going to go, but just for funsies. Joe says he's torn between Swift and Mostert as his RB2. He has Etienne as his RB1. Mike, you've already said that you don't trust DeAndre Swift and that you have praised Mostert. So I'm going to guess you're going Mostert over Swift.
That would be correct. We are going Mostert here quite easily.
Wyatt, I'm assuming you feel the same.
It's a question of floor and ceiling between the two. If you feel a particular way about your matchup, I want to give a little bit of context here to the question that like if you're feeling really good about your matchup and you just want to lock in the solid like 12 points wherever, like you can play Swift. But if you want the ceiling, it's definitely Mostert.
Josh.
Mostert pretty easily for me.
And that's from an Eagles fan, kids. T-Money Reacts wants to know, should he trade Debo and McBride for White? His running backs are Eckler, Javonte Williams, James Conner. He has Travis Kelce, also known as Mr. Taylor Swift, as his tight end. And he has Jamar Chase, Jaylen Waddle, Puka Nacua, and Rashee Bryce as his wide receivers. So, with that being said, are you trading Debo and McBride for White?
No. I mean, there's Rachaad White is good, but you have really good running backs already. And if something were to happen with Kelce, as we've seen with Dallas Goedert, as we've seen, basically with every player in the NFL being susceptible, I love having a strong backup to Kelce, whether he is either going to go on tour with Taylor Swift, get hurt because he's 50, or, end up with some esophageal challenges from doing hot wings again. There's a lot of things that can go wrong for a human being, and I would keep the solid backup. If I was going to make a trade like that and trade my depth, I would want someone who is guaranteed to start for me. And with your running backs, that's no guarantee that Rachaad White would even make your lineup. So you're basically looking to get a bench guy for a place you have depth by trading a bench guy for a place you don't have depth. That's not a move I would ever make.
Wyatt.
So it's interesting because I think, like, on surface, just looking at the trade, knowing that Debo and McBride are both kind of excess, I don't mind the trade in general, but I don't see like a reason necessarily to do it on this team. Like, there's nothing giving me any kind of like want to make a deal on this team. Like, you have a good team. I'm curious about like the starting positions that you have to play every week. Like, if this is a 3 wide receiver and a flex team, I definitely don't want to make the trade then, because I'm probably flexing Debo every single week. Yeah, it's just like the trade on its own seems fine with the excess players, but there's nothing making me feel like I need to make a move here.
Josh.
I'm the furthest thing from a Rachaad White truther. So this feels like way too much to give up for Rachaad White, even though he is a top 8 running back, and running backs are basically like finding gold at the end of the rainbow. But yeah, I agree with Wyatt in the sense that you really don't need to make this trade. I get it because, again, you can never have too many good running backs, or, at least productive ones. And Rachaad White, I love his stretch of games and matchups as we go towards the end of the season. And I think he's a good bet to finish in the top 6, in which case he may end up starting for you more regularly than, say, Connor or even Javonte Williams. But I would much rather hang on to McBride as a backup for Kelce and just protect yourself if something does happen to Kelce.
McBride might even be a better flex than a lot of his options in any given week too, if this volume continues. If this is like a full PPR, like, McBride might be flex worthy.
Cap wants to know, what are your thoughts on Sam Howell? Mike.
He plays quarterback, which is cool.
And he's healthy.
Yeah, he's alive.
He's not terrible this year.
So, Cap, the best I can formulate for you on an open-ended questions. I actually just traded in Dynasty on a team where I've lost Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr. I just traded Brandon Ayuk for Sam Howell. I had some hesitation in making the offer. So that's about where I would value Sam Howell. He's been great. He does it week in and week out. Took him to the end of the game last week to put up the numbers that we've become accustomed to. But at this point for redraft, I'm believing in him. What I worry about with Sam Howell is long-term. What we're getting for his numbers are great, but I don't know that he's necessarily a long-term option in the NFL. Has made some questionable decisions at times, a little bit more of a gunslinger mentality, but I'm riding the wave right now. But to give you an idea of outside of quarterbacks, I have him ranked right around Brandon Ayuk. And, for quarterbacks, if you're looking for an equal matchup, he's kind of in that Brock Purdy category right now.
Yeah, I think rest of the season, Sam Howell's easy, like top 12 QB, at least back end top 12 QB. There might be some matchups where he's just outside of that. The thing that's been great for Sam Howell is, like, the main problem with him this year has been he takes way too many sacks. Just like the like most ever. He's going to set a record, the highest percentage you've ever seen. But over the last couple of games, he stopped doing that. He started checking the ball down more, and that's like the thing we need from him to really step up his game. He still will occasionally make a poor decision, but that's true of most QBs in the league. So it's nice to see that he's starting to fix the one problem he had, that team wants to pass nonstop every single game, which is great. And then for Dynasty, like Mike was saying, he's up to like QB 17 for me in Dynasty now. I think he's worth like a first plus. The only thing like stopping me from moving him higher, because he's performing at a much higher level than that and is young, obviously, is that there is the small chance that he is not their QB of the future because he doesn't have the draft capital associated with him. They don't have anything invested in him. They could, if they found like their way to a QB they like more, could still replace him. I think it'd be dumb to, personally. The way you win in this league is have a QB on a rookie contract, especially one like Sam Howell's, and so you can build around them. But there is still like that small chance that happens.
I think the big issue really for Howell, not so much performance on the field, is what does this team look like next year? Because there's a very good chance that Ron Rivera is not the quarterback, or excuse me, the head coach. If he's not the head coach, does Eric Bieniemy stick around as the offensive coordinator? Right. Do they potentially give Bieniemy the chance to become the head coach? Is that why they hired him? Like, there's so many different variables with Sam Howell, but like for rest of season, he's fine. He's perfect. Late bye, which kind of sucks because it's week 14. But outside of that, his schedule is cake. He can potentially be a league winner at quarterback. But when it comes to like dynasty, thinking in the future, I think that's kind of where you run into the bigger questions like you talked about.
See, you want to hear something really scary? Is there's a very strong rumor going around my neck of the woods here in New England, for anyone that can't pick up the accent, I know where I'm from. That is the most likely landing spot for Mr. Belichick, who we know can absolutely ruin middling quarterbacks like it's his job. Tom Brady made people millions by being just good, regardless of coaching. I wouldn't want Bill Belichick anywhere near a quarterback like Sam Howell. So if that happens, I would run quickly. And that has been a pretty consistent rumor up here that that's what is the inevitable move for the offseason, is Bill Belichick coaching the Washington Commanders next year.
Yeah, I mean, new ownership coming in. They're going to try to make a splash. There was the talk that Belichick signed an extension. And so they're
1 year extension.
Yeah, like they're trying to put to bed the rumors and all that. But like Robert Kraft would be the guy that would trade Bill Belichick.
It's actually, believe it or not, it's Jonathan Kraft, his son, who's taking over and went to business school with the new Commanders owner. So there's an existing relationship there, which is bringing the fuel to the fire. Yeah, there's a lot to it. And the thought is that part of the passing of the torch to Jonathan is normally when you see this, a passing from, the father to son or daughter, is that there's a splash move, and Bill Belichick would be one hell of a splash move in a trade.
You were not wrong there. All right. From Dice Dealer, standard. Sorry, Mike, it's 1994.
We're going way back in time.
Saquon Barkley, Breece Hall, Josh Jacobs, Javonte Williams.
All right. So first off, we need to work on our acronyms, buddy. That does not mean standard.
Secondly, it doesn't these parts.
We're gonna go with the first two. We're gonna go Saquon Barkley and Breece Hall as really, I think, a tick above the other two. Jacobs has been questionable at best, and with AOC, they're stacked in the box. Javonte has a nice floor, but I'm going to swing for the fences here and go Hall and Barkley. They're going to have to rely on Barkley with Tommy DeVito under center, and Breece Hall is just a different caliber of running back than the rest of the group.
This is tough because all these running backs are in offenses that suck. And those are like, for standard, you want running backs on teams that can get in scoring position often. Like, that's the only thing that really matters, right? Like, I mean, the volume matters, but they have to be on offenses who can get in the red zone often. And like, these teams don't do that. I want to have Jacobs just because the highest amount of volume out of all these running backs, probably. Just because like Antonio Pierce has even said, like, this offense runs through Josh Jacobs. This is tough. I'd probably play Breece Hall before Barkley, just because, like, with Tommy DeVito, that team could not score any points in any given game, and that would not be a surprise. It's tough, though.
So who do you think is playing defensive line for Washington now that's going to stop Barkley? They literally traded everybody. They have like a punter at nose tackle right now. I mean,
because Washington is going to put 8 people in the box in every single play and just say, "Go ahead, Tommy, do what you can do."
Before I get to Josh, I just want to throw this up here. Yes, we see the chats from everywhere. So if you have a question, throw it up there. We will see it. We will get to it. I promise. In the chaos, we will get there. All right, Josh, go.
Breece Hall and Josh Jacobs. Barkley this year, not it at all. I know that Jacobs is at least getting the volume, and that offensive line's a little better. What is he, RB4 on the year? Like, if you see Josh Jacobs week in and week out, you would not think he's RB4. Like, that's kind of the state of this running back world that we live in right now. And Barkley he's good. It's just not enough.
All right. I'm assuming you guys didn't get to this one because it was still there. Is that correct?
Correct.
Go for it.
Okay. Rachel. Good morning, Rachel. Flex 1. Logan Thomas, Jayden Reed, or Darrell Henderson. Rachel, you know me. I appreciate your use of first and last names. Thank you. Mike.
Oh, so this one, the safe play is definitely Darrell Henderson. With Kyron out one more week, I believe someone wants to fact check me on that, but I believe he's not allowed back till week 12 because the bye week added an extra week to his IR stint. So assuming that he's not playing, Darrell Henderson's the safe play, but man, do I want to play Jayden Reed. They have finally started to bring him into the offense. They saw some really heavy usage on Jayden Reed this past week. But yeah, I'm going to play it safe. I've been playing upside way too much here, rolling the dice. So, Rachel, I'm going to say go Darrell Henderson, but keep an eye on Jayden Reed. He may be a staple in your lineup starting as early as next week.
Wyatt.
For floor, play Darrell Henderson. For ceiling, play Jayden Reed. That Green Bay offense is low volume, but it can be efficient because they take a lot of shots downfield. Jayden Reed is a part of that. They're also playing the Chargers, who are an absolutely dreadful defense and let everybody score on them. So, Jayden Reed could have this monster game, but there's a chance he gets 4 targets, catches 2 of them for 30 yards, and that's it because it's the Green Bay offense. So if you just want to be able to lock in some floor points, play Henderson. But if you want to shoot for the moon, it's Jayden Reed.
Josh.
Ryan has Logan Thomas as a stream of the week, so I'm just going to go there because I really don't like either of these options, to be honest with you. For everything you said about Jayden Reed, that's all true, Wyatt. Darrell Henderson, same thing. If Kieran Williams comes back this week, Darrell Henderson is a goose egg, right?
He can't. I don't think legally Kyron Williams can't come back this week, if I'm not mistaken. I want to check that, but I believe he has to sit out an extra week because of their.
Yeah, I thought he was definitely out this week too. That's why
I'm trying to look it up right now, actually, to double check.
But
yeah, 98% sure because I was furious when I saw that because I had him. I had him slated to come back. I'm putting my fishbowl lineup, doing my little dance, and instead I played Keaton Mitchell and made a video about him and embarrassed myself. So it's really been a bad week overall. But I'm pretty sure Kyron Williams can't come back till next week. And if that's the case, then Henderson, you almost have to play him to fall into the end zone.
It says Williams appears to be trending towards a return in week 12.
12.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if they say it like that, that means that week 11 is a possibility.
No, I think it's not an option.
I think
he's trending to coming back as soon as he's available is what I read.
Okay. Yeah, the wording on that makes it seem like it's open-ended to me. But then
all I know is the Giants are cheeks. Give me Logan Thomas.
All right, fair.
All right. Goose Golf wants to know Amari or Addison in full PPR. Mike.
Addison by quite a bit. I'm staying away from Browns pass catchers like we talked about, and Addison, regardless of who's under center, is just so good. I mean, I love watching this kid play. So I'm gonna go Addison here over Amari Cooper because, like I said, I just want to stay away from the Browns. Other than Jerome Ford is the only one I'm really trusting this week.
Okay, Wyatt, before you answer, according to Pro Football Network, the earliest Williams can return is week 12 when the Rams face the Cardinals. He can return to practice ahead of that game, which will open a 21-day window to activate him to the 53-man roster. When the Rams placed Williams on IR, mandated a minimum 4-game absence. Wyatt, go ahead.
Yeah, it's Addison. You really can't play Amari Cooper in your lineups unless you're like seriously hurting, like you just don't have another option because we don't know what to expect from Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I'll give a little bit of credit to him that his only start was against the Ravens defense, which is elite. So like it's hard to expect anything from him against that offense. And he looked good in preseason, which, you know, who knows if that matters for anything at all. You know, Amari Cooper has shown that he can like transcend his QB a little bit. Like we saw it when PJ Walker was playing, that even in those games, like he was still able to give us a little bit of fantasy points, but I just don't really have any interest in playing him with DTR until we see something from them.
Josh.
Yeah, Amari Cooper, not it. Steelers eat up rookie quarterbacks alive. Like it's bad. So I'm staying far away from Amari Cooper this week. I don't really love Addison against Denver. Patrick Surtain is starting to look like Patrick Surtain. And if Justin Jefferson does not play, then Addison's probably going to see a lot of Patrick Surtain. But he still gives you a lot more upside than Amari Cooper does with a third-string rookie quarterback.
All right, gentlemen, we are coming to what I am going to start at this moment. What I like to call the lightning round. We have like 8 minutes and like 10 questions. So for now, I'm going to ask you to limit your commentary. I may get to a point where I tell you we ain't got time for none of it and just give me a name. So with that said, Dice Dealer wants to know in a PPR, who are you sitting? Achane, Barkley, Swift, or Javonte Mike?
So I think we've talked about all these players. I'm going to sit Swift.
Wyatt. I said limit the commentary, but I still need a name.
Sorry, it's a tough question.
What did you say, Meg?
So you can't sty for 5 minutes, dude. That's still commentary.
It's tough.
Josh.
Swift.
All right. Jonathan wants to know, how many wins do we think the Eagles are going to win in the next 4 matchups? You know what? I'm going to start with Josh because he's our resident Eagles fan.
I think they lose to Kansas City because Andy Reid off a bye is near impeccable. I think they beat the Bills. 49ers, I believe they will beat them. Who do they play after that? It's
Cowboys.
Cowboys. They'll probably lose to the Cowboys. So I'll say 2-2 in those next 4 matchups.
Do either of you have any disagreements?
I'm going Eagles over the Cowboys. Dak Prescott cannot play against teams that have a winning record.
It's home. It's home. It's in Dallas. That's the only reason I think that Dallas wins that one.
I know, but you know what they do against good teams. It's Tua and Dak just eat up bad competition and fold against good ones. So I'm still going to trust Hurts even in Dallas.
I like picking 2-2, but I'm not going to pick who they win and lose against because it's just 4 tough games.
It is, yeah.
Good news is it's 4 trash games after that. So
yeah,
really coasting at the end. I mean, they're just handing them 4 wins, so they're going to go.
Yeah, our last 3, I'm like, chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Baby.
Oh,
Giants.
Who are your last 3, Josh?
We play the Giants twice, week 16 and week 18, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think who else is
Cardinals and Seahawks.
Yeah.
Cardinals, week 17, yeah.
Yeah, what's a garbage schedule? It's amazing.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's funny, too, because, like, we get this, like, massive gauntlet where we also play Seattle mixed into those 4. And then we have, like, Dallas, who their cake schedule is, like, last week and this week. And then they've got, like, 6 tough games. So, where they're playing most of the same people that we're playing. So, it's going to be interesting to see how the NFC shakes out. Because, like I said, I do think that Dallas wins in Dallas against Philly, because Dak Prescott has played well against Philadelphia in his career, especially at home. So, like, Philly's bound to trip up. Like, it is what it is. I don't think we finished the season 16-1. Like, I'm not that obnoxious Eagles fan.
Okay. Josh once told me that I need to steer this ship better.
Yes.
And who is the one person who decided to go off the rails?
Look, you asked me to talk about the Eagles, okay? It's your own damn fault.
No, it's not. I just asked you a simple question. You decided to go on a rant. Anyway, Justin Fields or Kyler Murray? Mike.
Kyler.
Wyatt.
Kyler.
Josh.
Tyler.
All right. Full PPR. Judy or Rashee Rice? Mike.
Judy.
Rice.
Wyatt.
Rice.
Josh.
Never trust Jerry Judy.
Never trust Rashee Rice. I mean, what are we doing here? They're terrible options.
Rashee Rice actually scores touchdowns.
That's it.
Good morning, Scampers. In a PPR Guillotine League. I did it again. Guillotine League. Diggs versus the Jets terrifies him, but would you sit Diggs for Hollywood at Houston? Mike.
Hollywood's my smash start this week, Scampers. And you're going to make me pick against them. I get the fear of Sauce, but I'm not.
Lightning round.
Diggs. Sorry, Diggs.
Make fun of me. Diggs.
Josh.
Diggs.
All right. Who are you streaming in Josh Allen's bye? Goff or Geno Smith? Mike.
When the hell is Josh Allen's bye? I was not prepared.
Does it matter what?
I guess it doesn't matter. I don't know the matchup. I'm going to go Goff, just sight unseen.
Yeah, you don't need to know. It's Goff.
That's true.
I was like, are you real? Is Geno ever going to be an option here?
No,
Wyatt just said Geno is not it this year. So
Yeah, he had his game against Washington, and that's it.
Scampers, I don't know that I'm not ready to talk about Scott Fishbowl. Joe Burrow was my starting quarterback. I also have T. Higgins. So I am rolling with Baker Mayfield rest of season, guys.
Hey, that's good.
Yeah.
I went
It's
from
better than
making
what I have.
semis last year to making I won't make the playoffs this year. Not even gonna touch it. Anyway, in Fishbowl, Scampers needs 2: Royce Freeman versus Seattle, Gabe versus Jersey, or DTR versus Pitt. Mike.
Sitting Gabe Davis here. Give me Freeman and DTR.
Wyatt.
Not Royce.
Josh.
I mean, you don't get negative points, so that can't really impact DTR at that point. So that's a good thing. Yeah, I'm probably sitting Royce.
Sorry. In a PPR vacuum, are you taking Cup and White or Austin Eckler, Mike?
Cup and White.
White.
Yeah, Cup and White.
Josh.
Cup and White.
2-part question. Part 1, would you trade Tony Pollard for Travis Kelce and Aaron Jones? He already has Dalton Kincaid. We'll start with part 1. Mike, are you making that trade?
I would trade Tony Pollard for a sandwich. Again, Travis Kelce's a bonus. What the hell? Tony Pollard and Aaron Jones isn't even trade. You get free Kelce. I love that.
Wyatt.
I'd want to know the team, but I'm leaning Kelce because he's such a Kelce. And then, I mean, you could start Aaron Jones as confident as a RB2.
There's confidence Tony Pollard. I'm sorry, I don't know what we're talking about here.
I know, yeah, I am admittedly
The answer
not
is
great
and
at
will forever
trading.
be Travis Kelce. That's all you need to know.
I am admittedly not great at trading, and I don't feel comfortable with it. But like, I feel like even I would make this trade without needing to ask help. Like,
Kelce.
It's Travis Kelce.
Yeah,
plus
Aaron Jones
another
and Tony
player.
Pollard aren't far from each other, so
Tony
you get to
Pollard.
upgrade
They're
to
the
Travis
same
Kelce.
damn player.
I would trade Tony Pollard and Aaron Jones for Travis Kelce. Aaron Jones
I
on
thought
the
you were
wrong
going to say
side of
for a
this trade.
sandwich.
And for a sandwich.
Gotta have a sandwich.
You got to get that throw in, Mike.
Part 2, are you confidently starting Aaron Jones considering a possible lingering hamstring issue?
Confidently.
I know
no.
Mike's not starting
No.
Aaron Jones
No confidence.
confidently or
but
not.
If you have to,
Starting
you
a
have
sandwich
to,
confidently.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
If you have to, Nicholas, it's not a terrible play. He's going to touch the ball. It's just, he's looked bad.
Wyatt.
Yeah, confident as an RB2, but that's not saying much.
Josh.
There is no confident RB2s, but yes.
All right. Flappo needs running back help. He needs 2: Breece Hall, Khalil Herbert, Deonta Foreman, Chuba Hubbard, Tajay Spears, Zach Charbonnet, or Dowdle Mike.
Why do
Pick
your
2.
listeners hate Breece Hall so much to put him in this trash pile? So number 1 is Breece Hall. Number 2 is Chuba Hubbard. I don't know what the hell is going to happen with that Chicago backfield. Spears Obviously,
Okay.
Charbonnet.
Okay,
Albert,
lightning
no.
round. Why?
I know, but I wanted to give an real answer.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
but we are,
there's
like-
too many options to literally just pick two. Like you kind of need a little breakdown here.
Breece Hall and Chuba Hubbard, because he's the only other one you can feel confident about the volume with.
See, Wyatt gave context, but was quick about it. That's all I ask.
Because I gave better
Josh.
context.
I'm gonna go contrarian here, and I'm gonna go Breece Hall and Rico Dowdle because Dallas is gonna smoke the Panthers, and Dowdle's gonna get some garbage time.
All right, are you holding on to Dustin Hopkins with the Deshaun Watson injury, Mike?
Yeah, you don't need a great offense to be a good kicker, and Hopkins has been lights out.
Wyatt.
I mean, it's a question of what other kickers are available, but yeah, Dustin Hopkins has been really good. They don't have to get in that far to get him field goals.
Josh.
Caesar's been on this show long enough. He knows when kicker questions, pass.
All right.
You don't ask me kicker questions.
Joe Solo says, pick one in a PPR. Rashee Rice, Devonta Smith, Cortland Sutton, Jakobi Meyers. He already has ETN, Christian Kirk, DJ Moore, and Puka Nacua starting. Once again, Joe, you are my co-host usually on this show. You know how I operate. I appreciate your use of first and last names, my friend. Mike.
Devonta Smith, not close. You should probably bench DJ Moore for Cortland Sutton, though.
Wyatt.
Yeah, Devonta Smith.
Josh.
Yeah, definitely Devonta Smith.
Also, Joe says, Josh looks stupid. But that's not my favorite part of this. My favorite part is the club fantasy response that says Josh always looks stupid. In case you don't know, the person answering for club fantasy right now is Josh. So, I mean, I guess if
Gotta
you
stay
can't
humble,
insult
you know?
yourself. Vinny says, he's starting Jerome form this week. If Devin Achane is playing, are you starting him over Ford? Mike.
No, Ford's been so solid. So this is to quote Wyatt, this is a floor ceiling thing. Ford has a great floor. Achane, if you need 25 points, that's the guy, but Ford is a more confident start for me.
Wyatt.
I'm playing Achane personally.
Josh.
Same, Achane.
Joe wants to know who hired Josh, and he should probably be fired because the ratings were better without him. The source that Nielsen.
It's all over around here at Club Fantasy, you know?
Oh, Lord have mercy. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this has been Start Sit Different Day for week 11. You made it. If you have a question that we didn't get to, or if you have questions that arise before tomorrow, hit up Club Fantasy on the interwebs on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Club Fantasy FFL. Ask your questions. Any member of the team will be able to help you out. Any of our fabulous people who follow us will be able to help you out. Cap for life one last time. JSN or Puka, Mike.
Puka.
Puka.
Now, all I could think about were our puka shell necklaces that were like all the rage in the early 2000s. Sorry, that's how my brain works. Before we say goodbye and say our farewells, Mike, tell the people where they can find you and your stuff.
At Daddy's Home FF on the X Twitter machine, over at the JWB YouTube channel every Thursday morning at 8 a.m. for my Dumpster Diving with Daddy series.
Very alliterative. I like it.
Yeah, it's fancy. That's how we do things.
Wyatt.
Yeah, YP_FF on Twitter. After you're done subscribing to the Club Fantasy YouTube channel, you can head on over to JWB Fantasy Football and subscribe there for all of our content.
Beautiful. Thank you. You already know that's Josh at the One Hudsonian. Follow him. Don't follow him. It's whatever.
Follow these two down here because they're fantastic
sure.
Twitter follows, and make sure you follow JWB.
And also
Underscore.
any sandwich tweet you might happen to come across, tag Mike because Mike really, really loves it. It's his second persona now. I mean, you could see it in his tagline, sandwich lover.
Yeah,
So-
that was an accident, but here we are. So let's keep rolling with it.
Yeah, every sandwich you eat, take a picture, post it on Twitter, tag Mike.
Tag Mike, exactly.
Every single sandwich.
I hate y'all.
Ah, Kitty. All right, for Club Fantasy FFL, follow at Club Fantasy FFL. Follow, that's my mother being obnoxious. Follow at women_FF. I don't even know what's happening now. Have a happy Thanksgiving. If you were traveling to be with family, have a safe drive, have a safe flight. If you're flying through Atlanta at any point this week, may the odds be ever in your favor. Good luck tomorrow and Monday night. And if you had Joe Burrow as your starting quarterback and you were relying on him for the rest of the year, I feel your pain. And on that note, toodles. See you next week.